I'm a Canon user, and I've been a Canon user for quite a long time, but I just so happened to get the Sony ZV-E10 for my YouTube videos. I got the camera because there were a lot of great reviews online, especially word of mouth. Plus, I didn't own a mirrorless Sony camera, and overall, I thought it would be a great investment. Now, one thing I can tell you is I'm not switching from Canon to Sony. At least yet. There are some things I'd like to discuss with you about the Sony ZV-E10 that I think you're going to find really fascinating. These things that I'm going to let you know about are also things that YouTube creators can find very beneficial. So here are my first impressions on the camera. When we look for a camera, we're looking for quality of footage. Living in today's day and age, we have smartphones that can produce the same kind of quality as a lot of digital cameras that were made in the early 2010s. But considering this is YouTube, I wasn't looking for a super cinematic camera. I was looking for something that could just shoot simple, basic videos, but still have a professional quality to it. More importantly, I was looking for a 4K camera that could shoot videos in 29.97 frames per second. I've recorded multiple videos in 1080p HD with my Canon M50, the camera that I'm currently using right now. And I will be switching the cameras back and forth to give you guys the quality difference between the two cameras. But ever since using the Canon M50, I've always been super impressed with its quality. But more specifically, this is more of a camera to just use for YouTube. It's a vlogging camera. This isn't the type of camera that screams, hey, you need me for your $40,000 movie. It's more the type of camera to be like, I'm ready to make a YouTube video when you are. Okay, so I have a lot to learn still. For this take, I'm shooting in Sony's Picture Profile 3. I don't do picture profile that often, so this may look like crap. It may look amazing at the end of the day. Who knows? Right now I'm looking at the image and it looks like crap to me, but that's what picture profiles are for. They look kind of faded, or they look really faded just when you're recording them, and then when you color grade them, it's like a whole different world. I have also been using my Sennheiser MKH50 to record the audio for this video, so if you guys like the sound of this microphone, you can find the product link down in the video description. But yeah, this is the way it looks compared to the Canon M50, and hopefully this turns out okay. So here are some features that I absolutely love about the Sony ZV-E10. The camera includes a flippable LCD screen for vlogging. When I first got the camera, I didn't want to break the monitor, obviously, so I was very delicate with it, but then I realized, oh, you actually can flip this around. Because at first I was thinking, oh, it's just a screen that you flip out and you can't really twist it around or anything. But no, it works almost exactly the same as the Canon M50. What I find even more interesting about this camera is you can stream from it directly plugged into your laptop using a USB-C cable. Another beneficial thing about the Sony is I can actually listen back to the audio coming from my camera. The Sony has a microphone jack and a headphone jack. And previously, using the Canon M50, I would always have to listen back to the video I recorded to make sure audio was not distorting. So it's nice to have a reference on the audio levels and being able to monitor what you're hearing. However, the Sony's built-in microphone isn't the greatest in my opinion. I say this because after testing out the audio a few times, I could hear some high noise floor, and I'll give you guys an example of that. So I'm now recording with my Sony ZV-E10. I am using the camera's built-in microphone, so this is what my voice sounds like. I am currently recording on a shutter speed of 1/60th of a second, an f-stop of 5.6, and an ISO of 320. I have a light right here, a light back here, and then I also have my nightstand light to light up the background. But yeah, the Sony ZV-E10 is doing a great job of tracking my eyes, as I can see. But if I were to touch it and want to focus on something else, it doesn't necessarily do that. Because it's a vlogging camera, it's taking time to mainly focus on my face instead of other objects. But I do really like the fact that my face looks super soft. It looks really good in this low lit situation because my room is technically really dark and it takes a lot of lights to like light my face up. Thank you, dark blue walls. But now let's listen to how this camera sounds with an external microphone. So you are now listening to the Sony ZV-E10 with the Deity D4 Duo stereo microphone. This microphone is electronically powered. Let me know down in the comments if you can hear a major difference. You can find the Sony ZV-E10 and the Deity D4 Duo down in the video description below. So I personally still recommend using an external microphone, attaching it to your camera if you don't have an external audio recorder. And if you've been looking to invest into an external audio recorder, then I have links down in my video description that I think you should check out. As a sound mixer in the film industry, I will always recommend using an external microphone over your camera's built-in microphone. But if you're a creator on a very limited budget and you're looking to just make things happen on the go, then definitely use the Sony's built-in camera, but think about upgrading over time. Another benefit to the camera's settings settings is it's very easy to adjust the aperture, the shutter speed, and the ISO. The aperture setting is located on the top right of the camera, and you can use that to adjust the f-stops of your lens accordingly. The next thing that actually fooled me at first, but then I got the hang of it, was the shutter speed. The dial you use for your menu settings, you use that same dial to adjust the shutter speed settings of your camera. And then to adjust your ISO, instead of going into your camera settings, you can easily go to the ISO setting while operating your camera. The Sony camera also has an excellent autofocus tracker. The Sony does a better job of catching people's faces and focusing on their eyes. Another thing about the Sony camera that takes the cake when it comes to the Canon M50 is its performance in low lit settings. When using the Canon M50 in low lit settings, it is just nearly impossible to get a really clear and not so dark picture. You have to use a bunch of lights. The contrast is always going to be great with Canons, but with Sony's, it's a lot more smoother, and the low lighting is just a lot more easier on the eye. The Sony's low lighting is just a lot more forgiving. But if your picture or video looks a little too underexposed, be very careful in how much you bump up your ISO, and especially lowering your f-stop. Another reason I got the Sony camera is because I love cameras that can change lenses. The Sony ZV-E10 allows you to interchange lenses, which is definitely a huge deal for me. Especially because working in the film industry, I'm not always going to be making YouTube videos. I'm going to be working on client stuff. Maybe I'll need a zoom-in lens, or I might need a specific lens with a different focal length. So that's just something I found really useful. So I've talked really highly about the Sony ZV-E10, but there are also some things that could be improved. For one, and I'm sure all of you Sony fans out there can all agree with me on this, the touchscreen for the Sony monitor can be, well, a touchscreen. There should definitely be a touchscreen for the Sony monitor when it comes to navigating through the settings. Because like the Canon M50, it's super easy for me to navigate through the settings, change my white color balance, change the audio levels, change picture profile. Well, there isn't any picture profile settings with the Canon M50, but it's easier for me to go into the settings and just touch what I need instead of scrolling with the dial and clicking buttons. But if there does happen to be a touchscreen feature with the Sony ZV-E10, please let me know down in the comments. Also, I'm not the biggest fan of Sony's settings, in like considering how long the settings are. It's like there are so many settings within this camera and not a lot of information to guide you along the way in choosing the correct setting for what you want to make. And knowing that we're living in a world where a lot of instruction manuals and stuff is on the internet, I would still appreciate something that can like really help me get the basics down. And this one is definitely a deal breaker for me in some ways. I really wish I knew this ahead of time, but at the same time, it is what it is. I wish the Sony ZV-E10 operated on batteries that you can plug into your wall. Now, before you start saying that you can charge the camera directly from the wall because of USB-C connection, what I mean is being able to record yourself while your camera is being AC powered to the wall. That is exactly how I've been recording this video with my Canon M50. It just saves a lot of hassle and time with changing batteries out. And yes, the Sony batteries last quite a bit of time, not gonna lie, but if you're also recording videos for a long duration, I've found that the Sony batteries tend to eat up a lot of juice really fast. And I also have a reaction channel where I'm making videos in batches, recording multiple videos in one setting. And so since the Canon M50 has that feature where you can plug a battery into an AC outlet, I can record videos for longer durations without having to worry about changing out the battery pack. And so this is why I use the Canon M50 as my A camera when recording reaction videos. But when it comes to these type of videos, I'll be using the Sony ZV-E10 more often. Let me know what you guys think of the Sony ZV-E10 compared to the Canon M50. As a YouTube content creator, this video was meant to just provide my honest opinions and thoughts on the camera so far. I have not been using the camera for any super cinematic type of movies at this point in time, but who knows, that may change. Especially considering I was originally a Canon user, which I'm still a Canon user. Also, hit that like button if you've enjoyed this content so far, and be sure to subscribe for more videos on film production and audio production coming your way. Now, if you're interested in learning about the Canon M50 and why I think it's such an amazing camera to use for 2024, then definitely check out the video you see right next to me. You can find links to these cameras down in the video description. Thank you guys for choosing the Hack Experience, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.